Welcome back, everybody, to the Sexy Business Podcast. It's Horse Girl Month, and we're here to talk about it. As always, I'm your host, Spooky Dangerous, and join with me, as always, is Lewd Neko. Say hello.
Nay.
And as I said, we're going to be talking about Uma Musume, which is both an anime and a mobile game, which is kind of blowing up at the moment because everyone has got horse girl racing fever right now. We wanted to talk a little bit about the app and, some of the craze of what's going on and why people are so excited about this, new mobile gacha game. We've been seeing a lot of normie streamers playing this game as well, Ludwig and Northern Lion. But then also maybe talk about the anime, talk about some of the characters that we do like the designs of. And I don't know, do you have a favorite horse girl, Neko?
So far, I've only experimented with a couple of the girls in game. I really like Silent Suzuka, but I mostly just really like her design. She has a really nice color scheme. I really like the green.
She does have a shy girl vibe from the portrait.
Yeah, I don't know too much about the characters' personalities yet. I haven't read all of the side stories. I want to actually enjoy them, so I've been holding them off until I have a chance to sit down and look at all of their little backstories. But you do get some hints and bits at their personality just from the baseline gameplay. But she definitely seems like kind of the honor student type. So maybe I like that about her too.
Yeah, I'm struggling with picking out a favorite. I've been, succumbing to gold ship propaganda because I see so many funny posts about all the antics and stuff that, kind of happens with gold ship. But also they've kind of designed the character to be like a muscle mommy kind of vibe, which I think is kind of funny. And scrolling through the list, there is a couple of ones that I'm like, yeah, she's definitely cute. And it really is hard to pick a favorite. But some of the ones that I see that are favorites, I do kind of understand why. I've seen a lot of posting about Rice Shower, and that's definitely a very shy archetype kind of character as well. And then also, because a lot of these characters are based on real racehorses, some people that are fans of the real racehorse are then, in an extension, a fan of the anime girl version. Which is kind of an interesting cultural phenomenon in itself. I've been seeing it all over Twitter. My Twitter feed goes kind of crazy. You click on one thing and it goes, yes, this is your new special interest. I'll send you 1,000 posts of horses now. But I've been seeing, a lot of gold ship posts about some of the, cinematics in the game or the actual horse gold ships, ridiculous antics and stuff. But then also Haru Urara, who never won a game actually, and then how much people are doing, putting effort in to try and make her a winner in the app instead. And a lot of these stories are really cute, and I think it is really easy to, fall to that kind of propaganda for horse girls when a lot of these cool things are kind of happening, and a lot of people are getting very excited about it on Twitter, and it is pretty easy to pick out a waifu. We've got 50-ish kind of characters to pick from, and you get to spend a lot of time with them on the app. But did you want to kind of give us a summary of what playing the app is like from your time, on it?
Yeah, so I've actually only experienced this game for I think a week. I got kind of coerced into downloading it by my Discord server. Someone was talking about it, and I was like, I don't need to download another gacha game, but I could try it. And it ended up being really fun. So it's a bit of a stat raiser, I would describe it as. So essentially, you start off by choosing whichever horse girl that you want to go on a career with. That's what they call them, careers. You give her to essentially I forget the actual term. I think it's legacies, but they're basically the parents. So there's sort of a system where after each run, you now have a version of that horse girl that you can pass down those stats to another horse girl. So there's a benefit to training lots and lots of different girls because they can kind of combine in interesting ways. And then you have support cards that can add various skills and boosts and things like that. And then basically you have a goal that you're given. And so usually the goal will be something like place top top 5 in a certain race or get a certain amount of fans, and you usually have a like set amount of days to get to that goal. So it's like 12 days sometimes for some of the races. Some of them you might only have a couple of days to prepare, so you might have some goals that are kind of back to back. And so while you're basically waiting for your time to run up for that race, you are training. So they have 5 different stats that you can train that affect basically how they perform. So things like obviously how fast they go, how good they are at basically following their strategy. There's different strategies you can choose for the horse girl. Like, is she going to stick to the back of the pack and then make like a burst of speed at the very end? Is she going to stay at the front the whole time? Is she more in the middle? There's stats that affect like her ability to push past other horses and to position herself. So you kind of have to strategize based on, each particular horse girl is good at certain kinds of races. Some are better at endurance. Some are just really super fast. Some are more good at like comebacks. And so a lot of it is experimenting with each horse girl and figuring out like what is she good at and what stats should you be focusing on. And there's also an element of RNG, of course, where she has energy, and so you train her, she uses up energy, and basically the less energy she has, it starts to increase her risk of getting injured. And getting injuries is pretty devastating because it takes up time where you have to either fix the injury or you have to take a pretty significant like debuff essentially. So you kind of have to decide like, ooh, this is a 40% chance that she could get injured, but I really need some more speed. So do I want to risk that or not? And then there's also a lot of like little random events that'll happen. So these are kind of like little story events where you might have to choose like 3 different options on New Year's of what kind of wish should she make, and it'll either give you like some skill points, or it might increase her speed, or it might increase her energy, or things like that. And your support cards also have events that are tied to them that are based around whatever girl the support card is for. And then, of course, when it comes to the actual racing, so you do not control the horses for the races. You basically just watch them. So as soon as you make a couple of choices at the beginning, your fate has been locked in, but you do get to actually experience the thrill of watching horses race. Although in this case, it's anime girls that are running around a track, and it's really cool. They do actually have like these commentators that are playing the whole time, and they announce like who's in the lead and oh, so and so is coming up from behind, and it's actually like pretty immersive. It's also very fun hearing some of the ridiculous names said over and over again because they're stupid horse names. So you have stuff like Gold Ship that we mentioned earlier, or Special Week, or Air Groove, or Manhattan Cafe, or Rice Shower.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's very funny hearing all of those being shouted out. But it is actually pretty thrilling, especially towards the end of the race. If you're like trying to get for gold, or if you need to get top 3, it can actually be pretty exciting to watch. Though if you are someone who you need to get through these matches as fast as possible, there are plenty of things that the game gives you that'll speed up events, or you can skip through them if you just want to see the results.
Yeah, and I've been watching, it's kind of come up my YouTube algorithm a little bit where some of, kind of more streamer for streamers kind of, algorithm is the word I'm looking for, have been, picking up and playing Uma Musume because they're the kinds of people that would just be running the new exciting hot thing that everyone's doing, right? It's not like they're a specialty person that's already streaming this kind of content. They've just gone, oh, everyone's playing the horse game, I'm going to come and play the horse game, which is also really kind of funny because they don't really have any interest in the category. Like, they've probably never played gacha games before. They've never made content like that before. They just want to play it because it's the new hotness. They come in, they go, oh, what is this? This is really silly. And then they pick out their horse and they start working with their horse and they start running some races, and all of a sudden they're really invested in their favorite girl and she's running races. They really want her to win. They're cheering for her the whole time. And it really feels like, as a concept, it does a good job of getting you invested in the characters, when realistically the game is just sports betting on horse races, but you're kind of, biased towards a specific horse. I mean, like, it is exactly like betting on horse races, but like, you are not spending money on and picking out a horse from the thing. Like, your horse is selected in advance, and it doesn't mean that you get to pick the best horse. It means that you are stuck rooting for what might be the underdog, which I think is also part of the excitement, because it's not like, oh, this is the horse that always wins all the races. This is just the one that I hope wins the most. And I think that a lot of that, does make it really fun and can potentially make it, really exciting for people that aren't already like really into anime or aren't already really into like that gacha style of game, where it's kind of like drafting, where you're kind of picking out different characters, and now these are the ones that you care about, and the other ones are kind of locked to you. With this, it's like you get your guy, and cool, I'm really excited about this one character doing very well, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, it almost
Yeah.
reminds me of the idol group AKB48, where like the whole appeal of that group was that there was like 48 different idols, and obviously like a handful of them are kind of like centered because they are very popular. But I know for some people, like you would want to root for the underdog because there was so many different girls that you would like really support her, and you wanted to see her go up in the ranks so that way she would get better positions and stuff like that. And they even incorporate that in the game. So on top of the fact that they are horse runners. They are also idols or umedols. So if your horse wins the race, basically you have the option of watching a little concert. There's a couple of different songs, and the positions in the song are based on the positions that they won in. So if she got first place, she gets the center position in an idol song. If she got second or third, then she'll be kind of off to the side. If she got something lower than that, she might be in the background. But like that's another kind of fun aspect of it. So if you are someone who's like into idol culture, or things like Love Live, this has a similar feel. Although one thing that I do like about this, compared to Love Live, is like Love Live typically had to kind of focus on like an idol group that had like 9 members, and there was a bunch of side characters, but you didn't really care about the side characters. And I really do like how there is just like kind of infinite potential for having lots of different characters with this one because of the fact that it's so easy to replay those career cycles. You can focus on your like initial kind of 3 SRs that you pulled when you first started your account. And then as you collect more girls, you get to just experience their different stories. And so you get to kind of find your favorites and who you want to root for. And some of them even have like, kind of like interesting little character arcs in their career. Like when we talked about with Haru Urara, who never won in real life, but lots of people like her in the game because they want to be the trainer that's going to make her win all of her goals. Or a character like Goldship, who in real life, the actual Goldship horse is infamous for basically throwing a race for no reason and losing, like millions of dollars. Like she was this really great horse, but just had an attitude problem one day. And so in game, she does actually have attitude problems. So her kind of deal is that while she has some really good stats, her mood is extremely like all over the place. Mood is one of the sort of stats you have to keep track of, where if your horse is in a bad mood for a race, it's going to kind of completely nerf her. Whereas if she's in a really good mood, that gives her a boost. And so it's kind of funny how one of the problems if you're doing a career with Goldship is that she'll randomly just be like, I'm angry today, and you have to do something about that.
Which, is sometimes something people are looking for in a waifu. And speaking on that, do you want to kind of run through some of the characters, have a look at some of the outfits, talk a bit about some of the character design?
Absolutely.
Because there's so many characters, sometimes it can feel easy that they'll get, lost in the wash. But all of them have this kind of academy uniform, from where they're all doing their training and studying and stuff. They also have their specific racewear outfit, which is a bit flashier. And I think the racewear outfit is the one that we should be spending the most of the time talking about. But also they have Starting Future, which is like a more of a regalia. Yeah. It's a much more flashier version of it. But I'm just looking at Special Week right now because this is the first one. And the Starting Future one is very fancy, but the racewear is the one that I'm more interested in because that's kind of where the exciting thing is happening. And they're all aerodynamic is not like the right word, but everything is like really pinned down except for obviously the skirt, which I guess they have to design stuff with aerodynamics in mind because if something is really poofy or billowy, it might look silly if they are running in it. And a skirt also makes sense because in theory it doesn't impede the legs in any way because the fabric won't pinch as you're running. But then like a lot of the top half stuff is kind of more like formal wear, like you've got a nice vest. It's kind of like a sailor print style crop top size with poofy shoulders as well. So it does feel like they've got a lot of little different pieces coming on together, but I think also that this color scheme is a lot of what's going to help you identify the horse. And so as we go through, I'm curious to see like really how uniquely they get to put the color schemes together.
Yeah, I really like her hair in particular. I think it's a very clever way of incorporating. The real horse has kind of like a stripe down the center of their head, and I think that's fun that they included that as part of her hairstyle. And she also I think just works very well as like she's kind of the poster character. She's the one that's like on the cover of the app and is in the center for a lot of the stuff from Uma Musume. And I think she really succeeds at that. She definitely has like main character and an idol anime vibes. She reminds me a lot of Honoka from Love Live, where she's just got that like happy, upbeat look in all of her art, and she's got like the pink, which is like a really common color for like the center, pink or purple. And yeah, I think she's really cute. I have trained her a little bit, so I have a bit of fondness for Special Week.
Yeah, it's the ever optimist, indomitable spirit character for sure, and you can really see that in her expression as well. But I think
Yeah.
you're right. I think the hair is also going to be a really important part of the character design. So I'm also keen to see how that goes coming forward, because you do have some that have some much brighter colors than an actual horse's coat, but also the the actual coat print on along the nose has a special name that I can't remember, and I should know what it is because I researched it for something else that I was working on. But seeing if that is incorporated into the hair design, I think will also be interesting. But next we've got Silent Suzuka, which is one that you said you liked. She's
Yeah, I've always
very
really liked
green.
the green and orange hair color combo. It's like common in a lot of different character designs, but I think it looks good. I also like that her ears are like I don't think they're actually green. I think she might have like little covers over them or something, because that was
Hmm.
something her real life horse counterpart wore. But it's very cute because that's something that shows up in all of her different designs. And then her race wear is like very student council president
Yeah,
vibes
yeah,
is like how I would describe it.
yeah.
And she's got kind of that like that hair too, of like the well put together student council president. I do like that she has the two different shoe colors though. That's something that's kind of fun.
Yeah, I wonder if that's inspired by something from the real horse as well or not.
Yeah, maybe.
Um,
Maybe they wore different color socks or something.
Because wouldn't that be interesting? Because as you're racing across the line, having one in front of the other, I don't know, one of them's really reflective or something, helps you track where you're going. I don't know. I'm wondering if there's something more than a fashion choice for that one.
Equestrians
Um,
in the chat tell us.
please, yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on to Tokai Teiyo. I don't think we're going to do all of them, but we might just do the first couple. This is definitely the like small character. I think it's like not. It does feel lolly adjacent because it's intentionally very petite, and her race was a lot like a marching band outfit. I think it does have like a little cape thing as well, which I think is really cute. But like the actual vestment does feel very marching band. And again, we have the same skirt, which has the same pattern design as Special Week, but in a different color. So I wonder if a lot of them are doing similar parts, but with like a specific different color scheme, or there's
Yeah, they
like
might be
standardized
related.
racewear. Yeah, or they might be
Um,
related.
Because I know a lot of the horses have like relations in some way where either they were like in real life they were trained by the same person, or they were actual like offspring or siblings. And from what I know, there is some like character design features that are done to indicate that, where they're not actually like blood related, but they do like sort of have connections where like they're going to be best friends in the game. And that's something I don't know
Mm.
as much about yet, just because I haven't had enough time with these characters. But it's something that I think is really nice, and it shows some good attention to detail.
Yeah, I also like her hair design actually. Like it's kind of short at the front, but then she has the long ponytail. So I wonder
Mhm.
if the running animation of the long ponytail and the long tail also looks really cute.
I'll have to train her next just to see.
Absolutely. All right, next is Marizensky. Russian name, I think. Or, well, more specifically, Eastern European name. And this is a very, very different color from the others that we've seen. This is a much more orangey, crimson kind of vibe with the racewear. And some really fancy boots that definitely can't be aerodynamic. That's just a big air catcher, if anything. And so this is like vastly different from all the other ones so far, which I think is interesting, but still feels like high school girl wear. So I wonder if everything is also like trying to play against it being high school girl adjacent. Or like it just really is a waifu factory game.
It's definitely all very like idol-y, where like all of these kind of look like what you might expect to see from idol outfits. Like usually they have a very strong color choice because the idols are usually associated with one particular color. The short skirts, all of the like stupid accessories is like very common for idol outfits. One thing I really like about Maruzensky is I really like her hair. I've always loved like the big curly hair in anime that like absolutely wouldn't work like that in real life, but it's so satisfying.
Yeah. Alright, I'm skipping forward a little bit to Gold Ship because I feel like if we didn't include this one, it would be a mistake. Her expression really does communicate her, mood problems, let's say, but also like the confidence and stuff as well. She's known as the greatest mischief maker, which I think you could also, get that as well. But this is also feeling like almost a marching band outfit, but also a little bit more like a formal military uniform, especially with the hat. I think the hat is really interesting. I actually really like the hat.
Yeah, I like the hat a lot too. It's something that makes her like very easy to identify. It's also just very unique. I've never seen a piece of headgear like that on an anime girl before. And then of course like the white coat is also I think very striking because a lot of the horses are kind of like brown or like orangey gold. So it's not as common to see pure white ones.
Yeah, I think her design communicates that really well. Like both the silver hair, but also the white gloves, white leggings and boots, and the accessories all still communicate that red theme. Apparently her weight is listed as unmeasurable, which I assume is because she's so rambunctious.
Yeah, I think you probably get kicked in the face.
Yeah. Alright, next let's have a look at Daiwa Scarlet. So this is another similar... this feels much less like high school girl outfit and much more like wizard schoolgirl outfit. Like they're trying to make her feel like a conjurer or a caster. And the royal blue and gold trim definitely communicates that a lot as well. So maybe this is like a magical girl inspired, like the tiara and everything as well, right?
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of Nero from Fate Grand Order, specifically like her blue outfit, which is also very like vaguely royally fancy kind of military. I definitely think they're trying to get across like princess with her kind of outfit, like with the like gold embellishments and like the kind of how the top is cut. And of course with like the tiara, which she has in all of her different outfits. She is one, so I believe she's the starter character that everyone gets in the app. But she's a really fun one because she's not exactly a Himedare, like she kind of is, but she has a little bit more to her than just like I'm uppity. She's just really like kind of like almost like the golden child where she's like I want to be the best at everything or else. And I actually found that really endearing about her.
Next let's have a look at Taiki Shuttle. This is an interesting one because this is feeling like it's trying to be an Ameribu type character. It's very clearly cowboy inspired. You've got tassels, you've got like a leather type theme going on, and even a pistol on the hip. So I wonder if you will actually shoot other horses. Probably not, right? Why is there a gun there?
If they break their ankles,
Yeah,
gotta put them down.
Put them down. But also from the characters we looked at so far, she is the one with the largest bust, and they've also put her in a pseudo bikini top kind of thing as well to kind of really show that off.
Yeah,
which I
the
think
real
is
life
interesting.
horse was American bred, so this is definitely the blonde hair, blue eyes, big boobs, revealing outfit. Ah, yes, America.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And then let's have a look at Hishi Amazon. This is the only dark-skinned looking character from my first, scan across, which is interesting. I wonder if that is, for the same reason that it's reflecting the region that it was, came from. It doesn't say anything in the bio about that, but I think she also has a very interesting design compared to some of the others. We've got like a strappy motif with the arm and the leg. We've got, free toesies out for everyone to see, wearing like a sandal type thing. And then the uniform feels like it was at some point a schoolgirl uniform, but has had pieces removed, or like cut off sleeve, and then like cut off midriff and folded down over the top to kind of make the skirt the pattern that it is.
Yeah, I really like her design because she actually reminds me of one of my VTuber friends, Ariadne Lily, who is a fox girl, not a horse girl, but she has like a very similar color scheme. So it's very funny when I first saw her. I was like, oh, that looks just like her. But yeah, she is unique in that she is the only like tan or like dark skinned character out of all of them, I believe, so far. And I do really like her hair color, where it's not quite black. It's like a very, very, very dark muted blue. And I think that looks really pretty, especially with the blue in her racewear.
Hmm. Next, let's look at TM Opera O. Surely an easy name for the announcers to say. But I really like this design because it definitely feels like it's trying to be a prince, which I think is interesting. So it's like a gender bent prince design for a female character rather than being typical princess. It's much more knight in shining armor, and like that's kind of communicated a little bit with the. It's almost like a cuirass designed chest plate, but then has those royal adornments over the top, but still has that kind of schoolgirl skirt, which is instead in an alternating color pattern rather than the pointed leaflet that we've kind of seen so far. But then also big cape, with flourishes and stuff on that as well, and even lots of rings, wearing lots of jewelry as well, which I think is interesting and different.
Yeah, I can only imagine cosplaying this is just a nightmare because you would just have so many like little bits and bobs all over you that can fall off during
Yeah,
the con.
yeah. Most difficult to sneak around in cosplay award
Clank, clank,
2025.
clank.
Yeah. We've then got Symboli Rudolph, who's immediately the next one. But what I like about this character a lot is the hair is it's doing like a front and back thing, which adds an interesting depth, to the design. We can see at the front is more like the bangs and the hair, and the single strand of hair, which I'm assuming is like the nose pattern. But then the back is much more reflective of what the coat would look like.
Yeah, it's something that's really striking when you see her 3D model too. It's like not a design I've really seen on an anime character before. And I look forward especially to seeing like all of the cosplays that are going to come out of this
Mm,
now that the app is in English. I fully expect that next con summer, it's just going to be Uma Musume everywhere because of the
yeah.
fact that there's so many different characters. So, part of like cosplaying and choosing a character is like you want to cosplay a character you like, but also a character that you want to look like. And you have so many options with this one. Plus, you have all the different outfits, whether you want to do like the schoolgirl outfit or their waistwear or their idol uniforms. So I look forward to seeing how like wig savvy people put
Oh
together her hair.
Christ.
Like, are
Yeah.
they going to just like sew together two different wigs?
Yeah, and let's talk about the raceway outfit for a minute, because this is very military general
Mm.
in the design. Like, it's got the epaulette with lots of rope adornments as well. It also has a cape, and it is also that kind of military green, like kind of a forest green kind of color, but also it has medals pinned on her around the waist. And sorry, on the chest as well up the top. I almost missed that. Which is interesting that, like, compared to the last one, which had lots of jewelry to kind of show off a royalty status, this one is much more like I have accomplishments and they are the only adornments I have. Everything else is about the uniform.
Yeah, I would probably guess that in real life, this horse probably won a lot of really significant races, and so maybe each of those medals symbolizes one of them. Though I'm not sure. I'm not adept in Japanese horse racing.
I mean, it wouldn't actually surprise me if there was horses that were used for the military and then became racehorses later or something like that. But I imagine it's like any other sport where you have a series of years upon which you can be active and then you become too old and you get kind of phased out. Next, I want to talk about Mayano Top Gun. This is another must-be American kind of thing. Because even with the posing in the racewear, it's like really trying to communicate fighter pilot. The name is trying to communicate fighter pilot. The boots, you can actually see under the boots have the horseshoe on it,
Oh,
which
that's
is
so
really
cute.
cute detail there. But everything else is kind of like you got dog tags, you've got your flight patches and stuff on the bomber jacket. Um, uh, Emergency kind of pattern. It's emergency clearance. It's like warehouse. This is an active forklift area kind of design with like the ropes and the stockings. How they've got the yellow and brown kind of patterns as well. But I think it's actually really cute. Like it's taken a really interesting approach on this kind of vibe.
Yeah, and one thing I will say is so like I'm normally not a huge fan of military inspired outfits because the color schemes are so muted and I'm like
Yeah.
much more of a neons and bright colors person. But one thing I really like about this design is that since her hair is so brightly colored and her eyes, it actually ends up working for me. Where I think if her hair had been like a dark brown or something, I probably wouldn't like this character design at all. But because you have that nice contrast of like the bright hair and then the like muted navy green, or not navy green, but army green, that's the word I'm looking
Mm.
for. It provides a nice contrast. Plus, she has all the little like yellow embellishments.
Yeah, I agree. I think the yellow does a lot to prevent her from kind of fading into the background. But next, I want to talk about Manhattan Cafe. This is another really cool one. She's got a cute white ahoge, but everything else is like really this black and or dark navy kind of base with a lot of gold embellishment, like gold cuffs, gold necktie. I'm a big necktie enjoyer, but also there is like gold detailing on like the coat. Like she's wearing a big, not like suit jacket, but like trench coat kind of vibe, but it still feels very much like formal wear. So I imagine as she's running, this is definitely billowing behind her, creating a rather large shape to help identify her in a crowd.
Yeah, I haven't seen this character yet. I've heard of her. I haven't seen any of her stories, but I'm really intrigued by her already. I've always liked this sort of like gothic, formalish look. And looking at her concept art is super cool. It's got this really interesting kind of art style where it looks like she might be kind of like maybe the spooky one. It says
Mm.
that she likes to kind of be quiet and stick with the shadows. So I like that part of her. I also like that she just always has a cup of coffee on her. Relatable. I also take 5 hours to drink one cup of coffee, so
So real. Now, we could spend all day going through all of the characters, and as we did go through them one by one, we only really ended up halfway through. But that is our time here on the podcast. And look, if you are, fans of the show, you are really big Uma Musume enjoyers, we can always come back and revisit the stuff in a future episode. We do really have a look at the comments and see what people are talking about. We, in fact, do have an episode coming up with a game that was suggested in the comments, which we are both very excited about. No spoilers yet, but, get excited. And we'll always kind of have a look at what's new and happening. If there's a new big waifu game, there's a good chance we've heard about it. If there's a new big thing happening, we are trying to make sure that we're here to kind of talk about it because we like talking about character design. We like talking about waifus. We like talking about what's new and happening so that if you are looking to become a designer of something like this or you are just a big fan, you're not missing out on what the next big boner inspiration game will be. So stick around here on the Sexy Business Podcast as we're going to be bringing you more cool stuff in future episodes.
bye bye.